Hi, this is Julie Lubinsky. I'm from the Reeve Foundation. I am the web manager, and today's show is with Dr. Dan Gottlieb, our family therapist, and his topic today is on independence. Figuring we're so close to the 4th of July that we would talk about what independence, but what does independence really mean? Is it freedom from wheelchairs, catheters, caregivers? If you're a caregiver, what does it mean, independence to do in your free time? We want to talk about things like that. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and speak up and use a chat box. And you may also dial in if you prefer to as well, or if you're listening through your computer, that's great too. So I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Dan.
Julie, hi. It's good to be with you.
Yes, you too.
So we don't have anybody dialed in, so we're going to be relying on you who are listening through your computers to keep the discussion going, because Julie, you and I could talk for an hour, but it might get boring.
I know. I don't know. I'm asking if the people on the web can hear us, and if they could just let us know if they can hear us talking. And I'm not sure if we can hear them. I always thought that we could hear them if they are listening through the computer. So.
No. No. Well, John can hear. Oh, good. So here's what John said, and John, I hope this is okay. I'm going to read this. So John said she had no question. Give me a sec here. She said, I've got no question. I wanted to listen in to get perspective from an able-bodied to write an article for our upcoming newsletter for the Independent Living Center of Kern County on what independence really means for someone with a disability and lives with all those barriers. So, Jan, I don't know if you are the able-bodied person or not, but let me just react to that. And I'll be specific. And Julie, you can help me here and see if there's more that needs to be clarified, okay? So, John, here's the deal. What are the barriers in our lives? It's easy to look and see lack of curb cuts or lack of electronic doors that enable us to go in, and that's a barrier. I've got a more sophisticated word for barrier. It's more of a I think the ancient Greeks said it's just a pain in the ass, So it's not catastrophic. It's pain in the butt. So that's one kind of barrier. Lack of accessible transportation, wheelchairs that break down, all sorts of things. They're barriers, granted. But what about this business of independence? And what are the barriers that really prevent us from being independent? And whatever that means. So I really want to open up a broader discussion first about what independence really means. And in my experience, Julie, and now I'm talking to you, like most kids, independence meant especially when I was in high school, freedom from my parents so I could do whatever I wanted to do. I felt that way when I got married. That, independence meant freedom from any parent's input. But is that what it really means? And then after my accident, I remember sitting in the lobby of McGee Rehabilitation Center, looking out the window. Now, it's a McGee in Philadelphia. It's, Center City, Philadelphia. And I was looking out the window. It was cold. It was winter. And there was a homeless person laying on a vent. And I looked at him and I said to myself, at least he can get up and walk away. I was actually envious of a homeless person laying on a vent because I felt he had independence and I didn't. So what does independence really mean? To me, independence is a whole different issue. I look at life from the inside out. And the opposite of independence is dependency. Julie, is that one of your fears? Of becoming dependent?
Yes, it is. It's also what comes into mind too. Being independent, I'm always conscious of. So I'm married, so I'm always conscious of what my husband is feeling and thinking as well. So that plays into my independence as well. Like, can I stay up late, or am I being too loud because he, goes to sleep early to get up for work? So I think other people also feeds into what your definition of independence is.
Yeah, so you don't feel so independent in your marriage because you're trying to do the right thing for other, right? Correct?
Yeah, I'm not do the right thing, but just be, be responsive to other people's feelings as well. So I just do feel I'm independent, but it's just the whole concept of being totally independent, like this freedom. It changes in whatever situation I'm in or who I'm with, what decisions
you used a magic word, freedom. Is that what independence is? Is it a kind of freedom, an internal sense of freedom? Because I never thought of that word, Julie, but that kind of nails it for me.
This is Jan on the phone now. Did you say internal sense? Freedom is an internal sense?
I did. It's an internal sense. Well, welcome to the chat here, Jan.
Sure, I thought this would be better.
Oh, yeah, much better. So
you can talk faster than I could type.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, let me see where this was from. So when you say Kern County, I'm guessing Midwest or South?
Actually, California. We're Central California.
Oh, really? All right. So, yeah, it is an internal sense of freedom. Look, it is, I think, fairly universal, that everybody's afraid of dependency. I think you, Jeff. Now, I'm of a certain age here, and people, when they get to 60, 70, 80, their greatest fear is becoming dependent on their children.
Most definitely.
Or dependent on a wheelchair or a walker, or dependent on their spouse. It's a pretty universal fear, yes?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Julie used the word freedom. What if you were free of that fear of becoming dependent? Free of the fear of becoming dependent. Of course you'll become dependent, you know? Unless, I don't know, you die suddenly tomorrow. But if you live a long life, you will become dependent, yes?
Right.
Okay. Could you imagine the freedom that comes with being free of that fear of dependency? Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. So, independence is freedom of fear of being dependent. Strength is comfort with your weakness. Make sense? Real strength. Not hiding your weakness. It's comfort with your weakness. Real power is owning your powerlessness. It's not complicated, it's just impossible. You with me, Jan?
Got it. I'm following.
All right. I'm done leading. What is it you wanted to know? And how did you get this job anyway?
You mean a job as in working for Kern County Independent Living Center?
Yeah, the job of writing this article.
Well, I'm the Resource Development Manager, and I also do all the marketing and communications, so I create and publish our quarterly newsletter, and I want to get it out here in July, so my thought would be, of course, one of the pages having, to be the patriotic look of 4th of July, our, celebrating our independence. And then I got the email from the Christopher Reeve Foundation with your upcoming talk here on independence. And what does that really mean? And it just, there was a good tie-in. And, what does our independence mean to us as Americans? What does it mean to someone who has to live daily, with a catheter or that's in a wheelchair and comes upon, because we are federally funded here at this nonprofit. But with that, 51% or more of our staff members have to have a disability. So my fellow staffers, are either in a wheelchair or our executive director is visually impaired. I myself, I don't really have a disability. I mean, I have a form of epilepsy, which I say is not a disability, it's a pain in the ass, is what I say all the time myself. I don't consider it a disability. I don't have a severe form of it. But it is a pain because at times I've had my license taken away because of my seizures, that type of thing, So what is independence to me may not be independence to you, Joe Schmo on the street.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. What is independence to you?
I just think of independence as an American citizen with the freedoms that we have. I've never thought of it as independence being held back because of a physical disability or even an emotional one. I've never had that thought process where I've had to come across maybe being, dependent on an SSI check, anything like that. I've just always thought of independence as being my freedom of my country, and what that brings to me, and not the other types of, physical barriers that I may have because I'm, in a wheelchair and I have to go around and look for a curb cut. I just did a governmental research project in this job that I have with specifically looking for discrimination with people in wheelchairs. So I had teams that I was working with and looking to see if there was any type of discriminations in comparison to an able-bodied person versus a person specifically, that's a wheelchair user. And I never came across that thinking because I'm not in a wheelchair, so I never had to think of, if I'm trying to get around, well, how long does it take me to get out of the car? But 2 seconds compared to someone who has to, get their wheelchair, set it up, then go from there, then look for a curb cut to be able to get onto the sidewalk. From there being able, my accessible. Can I get through a, door? I've never had that thought process before. And now I think differently.
Do you remember the book many years ago, bestseller, Tuesdays with Maury?
Yes.
If not, I'll summarize it just in case. Todd's listening in and hasn't read it. The brief summary is Maury developed ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and he wanted his life chronicled, so he called, it's a true story, he called in Mitch Albom, who's a sports columnist who was, and Maury was Mitch's mentor. So they meet every Tuesday and to chronicle his life, Maury's life. And as this disease progresses, Maury says to Mitch one day, he says, "Oh my God," he said, "one day somebody's going to have to wipe my ass, and I don't know what I'll do." And the first thought went through my mind was, you'll get used to it, Maury. I did. You will. We all do. That's what humans do, we adapt. So, you look at somebody getting a wheelchair out of a car or trying to find curb cuts, and you react to that the same way Maury reacted to having his ass wiped by somebody else. But right. I don't. This is my life. My morning routine this morning, my bowel routine, took 2.5 hours.
Oh, I know. It's
and every
amazing.
now and then, I'm like conscious of what's going on, and I kind of observe it from the vantage point of an outsider. And that outsider would say just what you said. Oh my God, this is what you go through. And my reaction is, well, this is my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, my girlfriend has long hair, and she blows it dry every morning, and she hassles about getting the gray colored in, and I think, oh my God, what you go through.
yeah, right.
So, you know, it's. I mean, this is my life, you know, and what is your catastrophe, you know, is my pain in the ass.
Mhm.
I'm toying with the idea of writing an article or more with the title, "What if the Buddha had hemorrhoids?" You know, we all have them. We all have our pains in the ass.
Right.
I want to tell you a story that very few people know. And I'm just about to begin talking about it. But as of 3 weeks ago, I had a minor incident in my van. I drive my own van.
Mhm.
And I was backing out of my garage, and my hand slipped off the brake. And I backed over some railroad ties, kind of a barrier to the tree line. And I went over it and slammed into a tree in the back. And I couldn't open my passenger door where my lift is, so I couldn't get out of the van. And I was in the van for about 2.5 hours. And I was really okay. The motor was running, so, you know, I could turn on the air conditioner. I had my cell phone, so, you know, I could call 3A's and I could read my book while I was waiting. Somebody said to me afterwards, "My God, you were trapped in the van for 2.5 hours." And I said, "No, I was stuck in the van. I wasn't trapped. There's a different feeling tone, you know?"
Right.
And that's just what we're talking about. I feel stuck. But after I got out, I talked to the aforementioned girlfriend, and I told her that story, and that I had 3 other incidents in the last couple of months like that, where I couldn't hit the brake when I wanted to. And I gave up driving. And I feel a tremendous loss, and a loss of independence. But I know me, after living with spinal cord injury for almost 35 years now. I know me, and I know I will mourn, I will rail at the injustice, I will feel loss, I might even feel depressed, and I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You get used to it. So what feels like loss of independence now, I know will not feel that way 6 months from now. We adapt. We adapt.
That's true. That's so true. I remember that, you know, when my seizures came about and I had my license taken away the first time. I mean, I I was probably just 20 years old, and it was like, wow, talk about loss of independence,
Right at that age, too.
Yeah. And then it was taken away, a couple of times after that. And then when I had, my children, with hormonal changes and everything, I had seizures breaking through as well, and then my license is taken away again. Well, now I'm a, married woman with children that I need my license. I need be able to drive my kids in case they need to get to the doctor. You can't take my license away. So it's like, I'm just a stubborn person. So.
And do you have your license?
I have it now, yes.
So
Luckily.
what do you mean you can't take it away?
Well, that's my thought process at the time. But when the state of California says submit your license back to us, and if you get caught driving, the ticket is even that much more when they know your license has been revoked. It's it's a chunk of change.
How long do you lose it for?
At the time that I lost it, back then the law has changed here in California. You would normally lose it for a whole year. You had to be seizure free for a year. And now I believe it's 6 months.
And when's the last time you lost it?
It was about probably a good 10 years ago.
When you first
it's quite some time.
When you first had children?
Oh God, no. Oh, my kids are in their 30s.
Oh. Oh. So you're a grown-up too?
Yes.
You have it now.
But I have it now.
Does it feel permanent or does it feel impermanent, temporary?
Well, it never feels permanent because I can always have a, seizure that would then cause the state of California to revoke my license again.
Do you live with fear of losing it?
Sometimes. Day in and day out, no, but sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's not a permanent, my license isn't a permanent thing because I've had it taken away before, so I know it's not, a permanent situation.
Do you enjoy driving?
Oh yeah. I mean, out here it's like legs. You don't walk anywhere here in California. I mean, we get in our car for everything.
Right. Right. You enjoy driving. Do you appreciate it?
Very much so.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if you appreciate it more than most. See, I'm a C5-6 quadriplegic, which means I'm paralyzed under the clavicle, so my lungs are involved.
Mm.
So I can't cough very well at all. Although the good news is I don't have those obnoxious sneezes. But when I was in the hospital with pneumonia, I had all that crap in both my lungs, and I couldn't cough, and I couldn't breathe very well, and I almost drowned. I couldn't draw in a breath without coughing. Not one breath. And because of that, I frequently inhale and feel such gratitude and freedom that I can breathe comfortably, knowing that's temporary also. And I would not be able to feel that were it not for my pneumonia. I appreciate my breath more than most.
Mhm.
How lucky am I?
Really? Yeah.
Really? You know, years ago I got into my van by myself and I drove to the CVS and I picked up something by myself and I was able to get my wallet out. I've got a pipe cleaner on my wallet, so I was able to get my thumb under the pipe cleaner and I got my wallet out and I fished out my credit card. He put the thing in a bag with a little loop in it. I got my thumb through the loop and I got home. I think it was a box of cough drops or something I got. And I got home and I put the bag on the kitchen table and I just felt so good and so grateful that I could do that. And I thought, how many people in the world can feel this kind of gratitude over just getting a box of cough drops? How lucky am I? But it's like when you know it's fragile, then it becomes more precious. Like your license, like your stability of your seizures. When you know it's fragile, you can either live in fear of losing it, just like our lives, everybody's so scared of dying. We can live in fear of that, or we can begin to knowing how fragile it is, how wonderful this is day by day. It's a different perspective. That's independence. Mm-hmm. Independence of fear of what could happen. Being able to live your life as it is. Tolerate your suffering. Feel real gratitude for what you have. And like me, gratitude for what I don't have too. That's independence. That's the long story of what independence is.
Well, who said it earlier? Was it Julie? Freedom of fear of independence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what that is. Yeah. I think that came up in my discussion with Julie, if it wasn't with you. Yeah, it's the contradictions, I said, that, strength, real strength was comfort with your weakness. Independence is independence from your own thinking, from your own reactive emotions. Imagine that. I can't. But it's nice to inch towards, move towards, dream towards, you know? You got to do something for me, John.
What's that?
When you write this article,
Uh-huh.
you also have to post it on the Christopher Reeve webpage, or post it on my discussion, too. Okay?
Okay, I will.
I'd love to read it.
Oh, gosh.
What?
Pressure.
More.
I sure will.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of humans here fumbling around. You know, trying to figure out how to be happy.
Well, it's been enlightening, that's for sure.
I'm so glad. And I am grateful.
I wanted to hear from others and listen in on discussion on, I want to be that fly on the wall and listen what others, think who have the disabilities and what they go through. I ended up being the one talking.
Yeah. You get used to it. We really do. We adapt, all of us. In our own ways, we just adapt. I love to tell the story about, I was sitting in the park a couple of summers ago, and I was watching, it was a delightful summer evening here, and it was a city park right outside of Camden, New Jersey here, and I was there with my virtual grandson and his mother. And he was, at the time, about 4 years old. He was playing with all the other kids. And I was just kind of sitting back, just taking delight in all the kids and all the parents that were out there on this wonderful evening. I was really enjoying it. All of a sudden, I felt a hand on my shoulder, and a woman bends down and looks in my eye, and she says, "Oh my God, is there a cure?" And I'm thinking, a cure for what?
Uh-huh. That's what I just thought.
A cure for my baldness? No, I don't think so. A cure for my neurosis? I don't think so. What do I need to be cured of? And I get this all the time. I had a man come up to me and say, "Can I pray for you? Because God wants you healed." I said, "Son, what makes you think I'm not already healed?" It's how others look to us, and we imagine ourselves in that position, and then we react as though it's us,
Well, that's
it's them.
Yeah, mouthful right there.
Yeah. You know what I enjoy? Knowing that I have no idea what the other person's experiencing. No idea at all. I love that. As a shrink, that makes me endlessly curious. So I live with curiosity about others. What's it like to be you? What's it feel like? What does that life feel to you? What's it like inside your skin? It's wonderful. I love doing that, and it's honoring someone else's life and experience. what's it like to be you? You know, I have no idea what it's like to live with seizures, intermittent seizures. I have no idea. But if you and I were sitting together, I would ask all the questions I could ask just to know or get as close to understanding what it feels like to be Jan. Not that I could ever get there, but I'd love to. I'd love to. So, you know, I say the world would be different if we could approach everyone with a curious mind and an open heart.
Oh, you said it. That's so true.
Yeah. The world would be different.
As I sit here looking outside my window with a fellow staffer pulling up, now he's the one who has to get out of his vehicle and get his wheelchair out and, take the time to put it all, put the wheels on and everything, I can and can only imagine sometimes what it's like to live his life.
Yeah. Well, when you have a few extra minutes, and he does, 3 words. What's it like?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we have talked that way because, I asked him, did he ever end up in a wheelchair due to a stroke at the age of 17?
Yeah, there's more of that than we know.
Yeah. I'm one of those who ask questions myself, so.
Yeah, good. Good. Be curious and always respect your ignorance. I was going to put on my card, my business card, instead of PhD, I was going to put DKS, which stands for don't know shit, really. And, it's true,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what we don't know is just breathtaking. Breathtaking. All right, well, we are almost out of time. This has been delightful talking to you.
Oh, same here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I do wish you the best. I'm going to be out there this summer. Unfortunately, not where you are, so we can't meet. I'm going to be up north. I'm visiting my best friend from when I was 4 years old, and she and her partner are getting, a partner of 20 years, they're getting married.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going out there to their wedding up in Santa Cruz.
Oh, yeah. That's where I spent my summers as a child every year.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful, man. Just beautiful. All right, John. Well, take care of you. I look forward to seeing the article.
All right. Thank you. I'd love to join in again.
Yeah, please visit our community and let us know when your article goes live. We'd love to read it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Take care, John.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
So Jan and Todd, I want to appreciate you calling in, logging in, listening in. Dr. Dan, I really enjoyed listening to that conversation about what independence and then freedom, how it's different, how it's the same, what it means to everybody, and most importantly, to not be afraid to ask somebody questions.
Yeah.
Because you never know, you could help them out, or you could just, even just saying hi could just brighten someone's day.
Right.
So, so I want to thank you, Dan, and I want to thank everybody, and this will be archived for our website, so you can look for the link shortly, and probably after the holidays. Everybody have a happy 4th of July.
And I also want to say to all of you that next month, the first Wednesday in February, I will be in Ketchikan, Alaska, probably on a helicopter flying over the glaciers. So I won't be available for a web chat.
So you won't be available in August?
Right. I'll be in a helicopter.
Okay, well then we'll reschedule, and people can keep an eye on our website for when the next Dr. Dan webcast will be.
Okay.
All right, and thanks everybody for joining us again for the Reeve Foundation Live Better series, and look on our website for future webcasts. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.